You tweeted it.
A little nonsense now and then, relished by the wisest men. Here we are. Let's talk Suns. Welcome into another episode of Outside Shots. We are back. It's been a long time. I mean, I can't remember the last time we did a show. Can you, Eddie?
Last year.
It was last year. It was. I
didn't know if you knew it was last year or not.
It was last year.
Did you know it was last year?
I mean, now I do.
Oh, okay. It was last year. Last year that I grace your aura.
Did you?
For EJ to be in your presence and educate you on the happenings of just life, not just basketball, life. You know, I was not listening. Well, you do talk a lot on your tweets as well, but I was observing your tweets and I was a little disturbed.
You're always disturbed by my tweets.
Well, I guess it's the enviousness or the selfishness that was going on. And you know, every time Arizona, you know, something good happens, you sign Bronny James, or not Bronny, but Bryce James. You know, you pick up certain people for your school.
Sure.
You know, you blast it out immediately.
Okay.
You know, Arizona State, you know, getting housed. You know, I didn't see.
They didn't get housed.
They got housed, okay? They got housed.
They should have won the game.
They got housed.
They were a 4th and 13 away from winning the game.
They didn't have to get to that point. They didn't have to get to that point. 15-yard targeting penalty, boom. 20-yard field goal, game over.
Yeah, what's the problem?
They got housed.
Hosed?
Housed.
Housed means they got blown out.
They did. That's blown out. You lose by 8, you lose by 20, you lose by 2.
What are we doing here?
They got housed.
I'm not even an ASU guy, and I got to say that's complete BS.
Those officials went into their house.
Well, I'm not disagreeing with that.
Okay, that's what I meant. That's a joke. And I ain't see anything from you.
What do you mean?
Nothing. I didn't see you supporting that. I didn't see you saying that, you know, look, they should have blown that whistle as a targeting. Now, did you tweet that out?
Okay, carry on since you already know all my tweets.
No, I'm asking you because I didn't see it. You must have tweeted it in silence from another account. I didn't see it. Normally, your tweets jump up in my face.
Okay. All right.
You know, you know doggone well you weren't cheering for them. You were not cheering for them.
Listen, I wouldn't say I was cheering for them.
You weren't cheering for them,
but
man.
I wasn't rooting against them.
Yeah, you were.
Because it was, for me, if the SEC, and this would have happened after yesterday's games, if the SEC didn't make it to the Final Four, I think that validates everybody else in this country who absolutely thinks that there's an SEC bias. And so I would have loved to see that. Now, would it have been at the sacrifice of having to listen to all the ASU people all around me just go crazy all the time? Yes, that would have been brutal. But I think the juice would have been worth the squeeze.
Like I said.
There you go, Sun Devil fans.
Like I said, you're a hater.
Saul.
You're a hater.
Was on board.
You're a hater.
Was on board.
And that's sad.
I actually don't even think anything about the target. Well, I don't understand. Here's what I will say. I don't understand why everybody just assumes that that's what cost them the win. Like, they don't even have a field goal kicker. See, you're choking on your ill-informed aspect of life.
Tequila was strong, man. I'm sorry.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, thank you all for joining us this morning. It has been a while. We do appreciate you all. Starting your Friday, we're going to start your weekend off right with EJ, myself, and we're going to talk about the Phoenix Suns, because right now It is not looking too pretty there, EJ. It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good, man. You're sitting there sidelined. The losers of 6 of the last 7. They're 15-17 on the year. They have lost to multiple teams that have been missing their stars, despite we missing our stars. And that's forever been the excuse. Oh, well, if they get back healthy, I don't know if this team's ever going to be healthy, because as soon as one comes back, another one leaves, and it's a constant rotation. It is a brutal situation right now for Phoenix. And what makes it even worse is that you look at the way that they lost this game against Memphis specifically, especially in the way they gave up 69 points in the first half against a team without Ja Morant. I don't even know where to begin in terms of my disappointment. It's just really disappointing, man. This team should be better than this.
Well, if you're a Suns fan, you should be disappointed. You should be sad. Not knowing where this is going to go. The good thing I will tell Suns fans, because they know I always bring the good out of the bad. The good thing is there are 50 games left. It's a lot of damn games, man. And to get it right, they're hovering around 500. They're not 4 or 5 games below 500. They're only, 3 or 4 games out of the 5th spot. It's a lot of good in the bad, right? You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, your rent $500. The bad is you only got about 50. The good is you got 670.
Yeah.
And that's how I look at it. It's still an opportunity to do something great. And you're right. I'm sitting there and I'm watching it the other night. Like, when I see all 3 of those guys in uniform, my immediate thought is, we're going to get through this game. And not just from injury, foul trouble, anything happening, right? It just seems like we're kind of snake bitten with getting these 3 on the court. Now, these 3 are trying to get on the court. They get back on the court fast, right? But then something happens. It's just, it just doesn't look good, right? So, yeah, they got to get themselves together, man. Like I said the other night on the telecast, I said it point blank. I said, this is not one person you can point at. Like, Big Nurk gets a lot of blame. Well, he wasn't there the other night. You couldn't blame him. Bradley Beal has gotten the blame at times, right? He left the game early. KD gets blamed for, maybe the turnovers at times. Every player on the team really has gotten a finger pointed at him. Royce O'Neal, he's been, kind of streaky with his shot. When he gets hot, he's unreal, right? When he gets cold, people take notice. Grayson hasn't been healthy all year pretty much. Missed time for the birth of his new child, and he's had his injuries. It's just been one thing after another, and it's just not good. Like, it just makes you feel bad. But what I will tell people, we have 50 games left. And don't give up. Keep the focus. And hope somehow, some way, they start to play like they're capable of playing. And if this, the last part, sorry, I know I'm a little elongated here. Last part. Like I said, don't blame Pacific people. Every player on this team needs to look in the mirror and say to themselves, what can I do extra to add to us winning? All the way down to the guys that don't play. That means when you're over there on the bench, you cheer nonstop. You support guys coming over to the bench doing timeouts. For the players on the floor, okay, if you're Kevin Durant, for example, we know you're going to go get 25 plus. What else you going to do? Are you going to get 10 rebounds? Are you going to get 2 steals? Are you going to get 2 blocks to add to it? Or are you going to just get 2 or 3 turnovers to make it safe? If you're Devin Booker, are you going to be maybe a little bit more aggressive early in the game? We know you're going to get your points. Are you going to rebound the long rebounds and not let Kuchar, who is an undersized power forward at 6'5", get 12 freaking rebounds? Like, it's those things, man, that everybody has to take into account, man. And if they don't, they're going to go on this road trip, and the same thing is going to happen. And that's on them.
It is on them. When I watch this team, I'm just really disappointed about a lot of different things. And I think the primary one, it just feels like effort. Sometimes it's just as simple as that.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel like there are too many opportunities to be able to stay in these games or win these games, and really just they're not enforcing their will on anybody, right? They're just kind of, at times it feels like they're going through the motions. But even with that being said, when you have a team of Kevin Durant and Devin Booker and Bradley Beal, even going through the motions should be good enough to get you wins more than just once
in today's
in
game.
a 2 or 3 weeks period. I mean,
not in today's game.
Well, and maybe that's also because, like, listen, there's a lot of things.
Young.
There's a lot of things that have to be said, and I think Larry Bird, Kevin, is probably the key person to be able to tell us what is missing.
We don't have the players with the heart sometimes that we need. And today when you see Magic slapping high fives and guys going behind their back and shooting layups on us all day long, it seems like somebody would try to put a stop to it. And until we get our hearts where they belong, we're in trouble.
Until we get our hearts where they belong, we're in trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, that's point blank what it is. And listen, like I've seen, like the cool thing about not being on the PHNX Sun show is that I don't have to talk immediately after these games and give my instant feedback, which can just obviously it stirs up a lot of listen, people are emotional about their team and the Suns, and I get it, but like you look on Twitter and it's just like the world is ending every single time the Suns lose. But the other thing is like not everybody's not wrong. Like they are noticing that this team is just kind of they're going through it. Clearly they're trying to figure out what is happening, but even when they're trying to examine how to get through it, it's like, okay, cool. The talk is cool, but when is somebody going to actually step up and do something about it? Like in that situation with Larry Bird and the Lakers, right? The next game, you saw Kurt Rambis go up for a shot. He gets clotheslined. All hell breaks loose. They all fight. That's a different era. Don't get me wrong, but like, who's going to be that dude that is going to finally just erupt and let everybody know like this is unacceptable? And I don't know if it's happened behind the scenes, and if it happened and it didn't have an impact, then I guess so be it. And maybe you just don't have the right group of guys. I don't know what it is. And listen, and I'm very, listen, what I'm not going to do is I'm not going to set you up for failure and put you on the spot in terms of like what moves need to be made or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to say that. But what I will say is, personally speaking, I think changes need to be made. Now, how deep you want to go with those changes is kind of completely up to the Suns and really Matt Ishbia and Josh Bartlestein and James Jones. But I think I would start at one specific place. It wouldn't even be on the court, to be honest with you. I think it would be in the front office, because I feel like whatever identity that they're trying to put together, it just is not hitting the mark. So somebody's head has got to roll because of all this.
Yeah.
Because this is just too much money to be spending for dozens of losses before you even get to halfway point of the season.
Well, I'll address everything you said. But the first thing I'll address is, and I used to tell young kids this all the time, and I think I live by this mantra, and I truly did. People, as me as a player, people could look at me and they could say, Eddie couldn't do certain things. Well, yeah, I couldn't. If I did everything, then I would have been a superstar. I wasn't a superstar in the league. I was a very good basketball player. I was way above average, but I was below superstar status, okay? I was a star at times in my career, but I never reached that, even though I tried. And the tried part is the key. Like, I will tell you, I never put a uniform on and I didn't have emotion to win.
Yeah.
Never. When I say never, you can talk to any teammate that I had and played with. They will tell you, I hated to lose. You've experienced that just playing golf with me or on this podcast. Like, or even on Twitter, people encounter me. I hate to lose. And I'm going to fight you to the end. You might not like it. If you listen to my radio show on SiriusXM NBA Radio, you'll hear me and Justin Termini for 3 hours. I don't like to lose. I have been that way my entire life. And I have said to myself before every game that I played in my life, and my high school coach got us to do this, I would sit in my locker and I'd close my eyes. And I would say, I'll put myself in a future place, like 2 hours ahead. Eddie, how you gonna feel if you play bad? Eddie, how you gonna feel if you lose?
Yeah.
And the feeling that came over me before the game, when I opened my eyes, I was like, I don't want to feel like that. And I think, and it's not just Suns players, I think it's a lot of players in today's game where sometimes they put you in a position where you have to question, how do they feel if they fail? And for me, that is the hardest part for me, watching any athlete perform in today's world, not just basketball. It's like, man, like if it's time to go compete, man, you trying to win. And winning is not just you scoring 20 points or you having big numbers. Winning is just trying, because everything can't be perfect every night. It's just trying, like just going out there and just try. And people say, effort, right? You brought up the toughness part with Bird. Yes, but I think people get misconstrued with the effort part, okay? Like being physical and all of that and having effort is not just all what you said, taking Kurt Rambis out the air. Effort is, coach calls a play, you run the play like it was supposed to be run. Show effort in the play, even though it's not for you. Effort is having the energy to go over to a teammate, pick him up if he's down, telling them good job, telling them pick it up. Energy and effort is like wanting to win every second you're on the floor, even though you're not being noticed. Like, that's effort. Effort is just blocking out on a rebound, and you might not get it, but you put the effort toward it to block him out so he can't get it. Effort is when a guy is looking at you to pass you the ball, that you actually do everything necessary to get open in the correct way, V cut, L cut, whatever, up and out, to get the ball to make life easier for him that's passing you the ball under duress. That's effort. A lot of people get that mixed up. Like, effort sometimes is not decorated, but you know that you did the correct thing, and now it doesn't lead to a turnover. We saw 2 or 3 passes the other night against Memphis. There were lazy passes. They look like lazy passes, and you want to blame the passer, but a lot of times it's the fault of the receiver because he didn't do the right thing to get open. It's those simple things, man. Making the hockey assist instead of trying to make the assist. Throwing it cross court. Cross court passes in the NBA does not work unless you're Luka Doncic, unless you're LeBron James. Like, those guys can do it with ease. Nikola Jokic. Most guys can't make cross court passes, so why would you try them? Guys are too good, they'll pick it off. Stuff like that, man. It's like, that's what makes a team win. Memphis, the other night, they won because they walked into the building, they knew they had 9 guys out. And all those guys are in the rotation. They knew it. So they came in with effort. So they rebounded the ball. They defended. They did everything that they had to do, and they were melting down. They were trying to give the game back, but something so much that their effort just made them be rewarded for winning. That's what it's about. So you say make changes and all of that. My thing is, it's not, make changes, but you should be talking to the players. You should be talking to the coaches. Make changes in you to make it better. Because sometimes you bring a new player in, it doesn't mean it's going to work right away. Like I'm watching Dorian Finney-Smith for the Lakers last night. They just got him in the trade, and everybody's like, oh, that's going to be a huge, huge, huge trade. Yeah, but he doesn't look like that trade's working right now. He's not playing well because he's trying to make an adjustment. Mm-hmm. And that takes a while.
I don't think it's a talent adjustment, though. I think it's a mentality. I do.
Well, I'm just saying, but most people want to do trades. They want to.
But what I'm saying is like if you get a specific player, which we'll get to in a little bit, maybe that mentality can change the face and the feel of what's going on in the locker room, on the court, in the huddle, whatever, right? And that's the thing that we'll get to right after this break. Folks, obviously, you all know one of the great things about this beautiful state is the nice, long-lasting relationships that you can build with some financial institutions here, and the things that you like to know and love. So, Desert Financial Credit Union is one of the best in that, and they've been around for 89 years. They've been around helping people in the Valley and in Arizona get what they need to get off onto the right foot financially. Checking accounts, savings accounts, home loans, auto loans, you name it. They have every tool at your disposal, and you can take advantage of it right now. When you open a free checking account online, you'll get $200 in bonuses and get started by visiting desertfinancial.com/200. And then obviously you can see it. It's on the table. The Polar Pop, the big old jug right here, 79 cents. If you are an Inner Circle member, Circle K is where it's at. Obviously, it is one of the best convenience stores in the state. One of the best convenience stores in the country, to be honest with you. And you can go to your closest one and get hooked up. If you just download the Inner Circle app, you'll save 25 cents off a gallon for your first 5 fill-ups, and then you'll save some more money after that as well. And then on top of that, you get hooked up with like 5 free drinks, beverages of your choice, and you get hooked up with all kinds of discounts and snacks and you name it. It's a great place to stop on your way out of town. It's a great place to stop if you're going to hit the road for whatever your reason, and it's a great place to stop in the morning if you just want to grab a cup of hot Java. So that's what I do.
Or a big Polar Pop, like Saul gets. He's trust me. He's drinking big sodas in here. Yeah. I call him Big Soda.
Okay, Big Soda, Polar Pop. Get yours today. Again, go to Inner Circle. Download the Inner Circle app. Go to CircleK.com for more details. All right, let's get to it. I mentioned a mentality shift, and I think that is needed. Now, whether it comes in the form of Jimmy Butler or not, doesn't matter, but something has got to happen I think what I feel like is happening when I watch the Suns, I'm not going to say that they don't care because I know that they care. I know that the players care about wins and losses. I do. But there's also, it feels like when you watch kids in an AAU tournament, when they lose because of how many games they play, when they lose, they're upset momentarily, and then they're on to the next thing. And sometimes it feels like because of the way these games are playing out, that it's like, okay, we'll get it the next time. We'll get it the next time. We'll get it the next. Well, how many times are you going to say that before you run out of times? And listen, with this team, the way they're situated, there's not a lot of room left. Like Kevin Durant's, he's on the back end of his career. Mm-hmm. Devin Booker is 30, he's 30, right? He just turned 30. He's right there in the peak of his career, right? He's considered a little old in NBA terms, right? Bradley Beal on the backside of his career. Like, you don't have time to F around. And I think that's what makes this all so frustrating, is that you have to stop with this nonsense. Like, you got to ball out. But the problem is I don't know if they have the personnel to be able to ball out. And I really did have high hopes at the beginning of the season in terms of like the bench and their productivity. And I thought everybody was going to gel together. Everybody was going to be great. But it just hasn't happened that that way for this team. And, you know, I go back to looking at a guy like Charles Barkley when it came to the Valley. And I'm not saying Jimmy Butler is like Charles Barkley, but it was an immediate change in personality for that team because of what Charles brought, not only from a talent standpoint, but also a mentality standpoint. Like, I'm just not going to put up with your stuff. And I think Jimmy Butler, if he was able to find a way to get traded here, which is a really, really, really long shot, I think he changes that mentality. And listen, if you haven't seen it yet, Jimmy Butler is making it plainly clear that he wants out of Miami. No ifs, ands, or buts about it.
I want to see me get my joy back from playing basketball. And wherever that may be, we'll find out here pretty soon. But I want to get my joy back. I'm happy here, you know, off the court. But I want to be back to somewhat dominant. I want to hoop. And I want to help this team win. Right now, I'm not doing that.
Can you get your joy back here on the court?
Probably not.
Probably not. Not in Miami, he ain't. So obviously he's trying to force his way out. He wants out. Pat Riley's usually been pretty good about players that just want out. He's going to get rid of them because he doesn't want that kind of feel or environment around the team. But who knows what's going to happen? He's got you know, a $50+ million contract as well. The Suns have 3 players that are in that 50+ range. Bradley Beal is what everybody's pointing to in terms of trying to get, you know, move one person for another. But I just don't know if that's really going to happen. If you're Miami, do you take on that salary for 3 years, knowing that, you know, listen, Bradley Beal's injury history is prevalent and it is a factor.
Not.
So it's yeah.
Every year we get to this point where some player, you know, wants to be traded. I will tell people this, and I'll give you a little inside info. Every day, when I tell you every day, it's a player in the NBA that wants to be traded. I am not kidding you. You just don't hear it all the time. But it's out of the 400+ players in the league, I will tell you 100 of them are disgruntled.
Well, yeah.
They're disgruntled. And they just don't have the media magnet that Jimmy Butler has or anybody else that's a star has. When he talks, they're going to listen. They're going to flock to him. So this is not like something, Jimmy Butler is not like isolated here. It's just, you know, when you have 15 guys, 17 guys on a roster, and, you know, you got guys that go to the G League, you got guys that rotate in and out, you got guys that, you know, look at Bol over there on the end of the bench. You know, he's like a walking bucket, but he can't play. He doesn't get time. Damian Lee has worked hard to get his knee right, and he really hasn't gotten his shot yet. It's tough, man. Like, I lived it. It's tough, man. Like, that's what people don't see. They don't see that part of it. It's like, it's tough, man. You know, yeah, Bradley Beal's injury prone. You can say that over the last number of years. He doesn't want to be injured. He's not trying to get injured. Like, it's just tough. And so you see Jimmy Butler basically not directly saying that he wants out because he can't, because he'll get fined if he does. But it's pretty obvious, right? I mean, changing the hair color to the teams that he's interested in. It's all of that. He's sending indirect signals to Pat Riley. Now, the problem with Pat Riley, and Jimmy Butler knows this more than anybody, he's been with Pat for a number of years. Pat Riley's one of the most stubborn dudes you ever gonna meet. And Pat Riley, he has house money in his career. He's not going anywhere. He's not gonna be pressured. He pretty much runs that organization. And if that's the case, that's when it gets difficult. Because he's not gonna just give Jimmy away. You know, he's going to get something for him. And so this thing is not, as Jimmy said, he thinks it's going to happen soon. The only reason I think it'll happen soon, Saul, is that they know that Jimmy has a pulse on that locker room. You know, he's got players on that team that look up to him. And if you have ambitions to win in the playoffs or make the playoffs, if you're Miami, then you don't want a guy that you think can disrupt it. You know, and Jimmy was talking about his offense. Like feels like he's involved in the offense. They pretty much now lean more toward Tyler Hero, who's having an all-star year, and Bam Adebayo. And he says he's stuck over there in the corner. You know, he took, 2 shots 2 games ago, and he took 6 shots last night. I'm watching the game. He is not involved in the offense, whether it's him doing it on purpose or them running plays away from him. So we see what's going on, and it's not looking good. And so if you're Miami, you got to make a choice. Are you going to try to make sure you can solidify your team so you can have a good run in the playoffs? Or are you going to be stubborn if you're Pat Riley? I kind of think Pat Riley's maybe going to lose out on this because I think people around him will say, is this a fight between you and Jimmy? Or are you interested in just clearing the house of this, this attitude, this feeling, and help this team win? Because there's 16 other guys over there in that locker room that don't want this. And so it's gonna be interesting to see how this plays out.
I mean, it also depends on what kind of return you can get for him, right? Like, listen, if you can get a handful of picks and maybe a good solid player in return, like, that's definitely something you got to look at, because right now Jimmy Butler's got an opt-out.
Well, teams know right now that Riley doesn't have the kind of juice with this whole situation than he would have had maybe a year ago. Because why? Because Jimmy pretty much is telling you, I want out, which means I'm not signing back here if I opt out, which means I'm the leader in that locker room.
Yeah.
Which means you're not going to bench me and sit me on the bench and not play me. So now you got to put me out there, right? What if I'm not engaged? So it's those kind of worries that you do have in that situation, and teams know it now. And so they're not going to offer Miami what Miami wants.
Yeah.
They're not. They're going to just offer them enough. They're not going to offer them what they want.
I mean, listen, somebody said in the chat, Gerald said the Suns aren't getting Jimmy, and Heat Check says, so it must be true, right? Listen, there's no way of guaranteeing anything ever, and I know Gerald's source, and it is as legit as you can get. So I understand it, but things always change on a day-to-day basis. Things change in the NBA. You never know what's about to happen. You never know who's going to be disgruntled, who wants out. Hell, we could flip the script tomorrow, and one of our superstars might say they want out. You know what I mean? So you just never know what's going to happen. But what I do know is right now, I'm wearing this. You never gave me credit for this in my Willy Wonka hat.
Is that what that is? Willy Wonka?
Yeah. You see the top?
You got some chocolate?
It's beautiful.
Do you have any chocolate?
I am chocolate.
You're not chocolate. You're not chocolate. Okay. I'm gonna tell you, hold it. I dare you say you're chocolate.
I'm milk chocolate.
No,
you're
you
dark
milk chocolate. You ain't even. You not even milk chocolate.
I am.
You like
absolutely.
chocolate.
I'm milk chocolate.
You like chocolate. I'm chocolate. Okay.
Chocolate.
This is chocolate over here. This is like really nice chocolate.
Rich chocolate is what it is. You got dollar store chocolate right here. You got rich chocolate over here. When I think of the Suns, though, when I'm wearing this hat, I think of a Willy Wonka quote. He says, "There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going, because nobody knows what's going to happen this season. Nobody knows and has a pulse enough to know and identify on a consistent basis what the Suns are all about. And it does feel like we need a DNA change up. We need something to kind of just stir the pot a little bit to get these guys back on track. We need somebody to just show some emotion a little bit more. Like I just feel, I need it. I crave it. I need to see the teams and the players that I root for care as much as we do. And I don't know if we're ever going to get it. It is what it is.
If I told you,
Sure.
this is where people like sometimes don't get it. They want to go for the obvious, right? So if I told you that we could get a player, I'm not going to even name the player, okay? Not going to even name him, okay? He averages 18 points a game, all right? Doesn't turn it over much, 2.2. He averages 1.2 steals a game, 3.1 assists. He's not a point guard. He gets 4 rebounds a game. Shoots 76 from the line. He shoots 39% from 3, okay, which puts him in the upper echelon of 3-point shooters. And he shoots 49% from the field in 33 minutes. Would you be interested in that guy?
We already have that guy.
Huh?
We already have that guy.
Yeah. His name is Bradley Beal.
Right? Yeah.
So that's why I just tell people, like, the Bradley Beal's problem, yes. He's played 22 games. He's missed 10 games this year. But he comes back. He's not elongated in his injuries. Like, he'll come back, as quickly as he can. It's not all about finding somebody to give you production. It's about finding somebody that fits, right? And sometimes you might already have that guy. And all it takes is a little tweaking to just try to make it work. And so that's what I'm saying to you. Just because your pliers that you have don't work and you just go out and buy a new pair, when all you had to do was just go get another pair of pliers, borrow them, and just screw that little nut on there to make it tighter.
The same thing. You just said if you have a pair of pliers, you don't need to go buy a new one. Just borrow a pair to fix the problem.
Borrow a pair. But hold it, listen what I'm saying.
It's still a different pair.
It's a different, you borrow it from somebody next door to just tighten the nut on there instead of going to buy another one. That's the point. Some people will go buy another one because they don't want to fix that one.
Okay.
Stay with me. Okay? Because they don't want to fix that one, right? That's the problem. Like, fix what you have to see if it can work instead of giving up on it. People in today's world, they give up on stuff too easy, man. It's sad to see. They don't want to put forth the energy to see how it can be fixed.
My guy.
Instead of wanting to get rid of it.
My guy. We have been at this for 3 years with KD and Book. We have been at this for 2 years with Beal, KD, and Book.
That's not long enough.
And it has not been good.
That's not long enough.
It hasn't been anywhere near the expectation.
It's not long enough,
When do you say when?
Well, the reason why I would say it's not long enough, because we've seen the good when it's whole. And so I'm not saying us fix it. I'm not saying us fix it.
No, I know, but I'm just
they
saying
have to fix it.
But it's never whole.
But they have to fix it. That's all I'm saying. Like, sometimes they have to fix it. I played with Gary Payton in Seattle. All right? Played with Gary Payton and Sean Kemp when they were rookies. And we had one of the most talented teams in Seattle probably I've ever played on. Okay? I mean, we had, like I said, those two.
Yeah, Paul
Derek
Pierce.
McKee. We had Derek McKee. We had Michael Cage.
Ricky Pierce.
We had Ricky Pierce. Myself. Okay? Sam Perkins. Just look, it was one of the most talented basketball teams we ever had. When I first got there from the Suns, they traded me there. Biggest mistake they ever made, the Suns did, trade me. When I got there, I walked into the lobby. They had lost 14 out of their last 16 games. I remember getting on the plane. I got traded in New Jersey. I got on a plane the next day. I could have taken 3 or 4 days. I get that in my contract. I could have come back to Phoenix, took a couple of days, get myself together, and met them on the East Coast. I said, no, it's not how I roll. I left New Jersey, met the team in Milwaukee. Okay? I've already done my studying. I'm excited because I know they got talent. But why are they losing? I walk into the lobby, and Sadell Threet, who was on that team, a hell of a basketball player. He was another guy on that team. Had Quentin Daly on that team, was a walking bucket. Like, these are the guys we had. Talent, man. What? Dana Barros on that team. We had talent, okay? I'm pumped up. I'm like, man, I can add to this. I can show leadership, man. We can turn this around. It was early in the year. Like, no, we can fix this. I walk in. This is a true story, people. I walk in, I meet them. They had just flown in, okay, from wherever they were, getting blown out. They're in the lobby waiting on their rooms to open up. I go in, I see them. I walk over. What's up, man? What's happening? You know, they like, man, you know, glad you're here, blah, blah, blah. And I saw a malaise of like half-heartedness to greet me. You know, it didn't have to be rah-rah, but, you know. Sadell Threet walks up to me and he looks at me and he says, welcome to the Twilight Zone.
Oh, that's awesome.
Man, I said, are you kidding me? I went up to the room, immediately called the other half. And I was like,
pray for me.
Bawling. No, I was crying.
Oh, no.
Because, man, look, man, if you knew me as a competitor, like, it took all the joy out of what I was thinking flying over there. Mm-hmm. Like, man, you know, I can really help these guys. And I'm like, what have I walked into? I'm just left a team that's winning 50-plus games every year. Mm-hmm. So, and it gets worse. So, Casey Jones, who's the coach. Now, I go down to his room, and he asked me, I don't know if he was doing that on purpose or what. He said, I mean, you know, what do you like to do?
Brother, you traded for me. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
What do I like to do?
Yeah. First and foremost, if anybody knew Eddie Johnson, I like to score. Now, I don't know if he did it on purpose to get a reaction out of me, but he did it. And KC maybe was trying to do that. I don't know. But I took it in a negative way. I left out of that meeting with him, and I was like, what the heck have I walked into? Mm-hmm. But after a day of thinking about it, I said to myself, no, man. No, you're going to try to make this work. Nate McMillan was on that team. Mm. Okay? So I got with Nate. I saw, after the first couple of practice, I saw who was engaged. I saw who were the serious guys. And obviously Sean and Gary were young. They weren't, right? And I'm looking. I'm like, okay, I got to get to know Nate. I got to get to know Derek. And that's what I did. I'm like, so about a week, I'm just watching everything. You know, we won a game, lost a game, whatever. And I'm seeing the talent. And so one particular practice, up until this time, Gary and Sean practice at 10. They show up at 10:05. Like, oh, yeah, it was crazy. So I'm like, okay.
Oh, man, I'm going to get triggered.
So, and then when they show up, we got shoot-arounds, and we're going through stuff. Gary doing all the talking. He's a rookie. And I'm sitting there and I'm watching it. I'm just watching it. I let it go for a few times. And I finally said, okay, Eddie, you pretty much observed everything. I think I know how to approach people. I'm done. So Gary get the yapping, you know. I said, hey, man. And everybody got quiet. And he looked at me. I said, hey, man, would you shut the up? I said, rookies are meant to be just listen, not heard. I said, we got veterans on this team that's been in the league longer than you, and you instructing people on what they should do. Mm-hmm. And I knew that it was going to be some combustion after that, but I was ready for it. I might have to fight this dude or whatever. I was just ready. Mm-hmm. And he just looked at me. He went at me a little bit. He got loud, and it went away. And after practice, I walked up to him. I said, Gary, I said, listen, man, you and Sean are going to be I grabbed Sean too. I said, you two dudes are the face of this organization. Mm-hmm. I said, I came here for a reason. Like, it wasn't just to play. I said, I came here to lead. And I'm telling you both, we can fight if that's what you all want to do. But I'm going to keep pushing you. I'm going to keep getting on you. And I said, have them ship me back out. I don't care. But as long as I'm here, I'm going to do it. Because I said, you two dudes are going to make things work for us this year. Not 2 years from now, whatever, this year. And I said, you all got to lead better, man. And I was really passionate, and they saw it. And I said, like I said, y'all want to fight? Sean, you probably kicked my butt, but I'm going to tell you the next morning when I get back here, I'm going to hit you in the head with the back of a chair. I told him that. I said, so I'm not going to go away, dude. So y'all going to have to accept it, man. We can win. And they were just looking at me. They were like, this fool crazy, or he's telling the truth.
Yeah.
They walked away. And one by one, eventually they came over and they apologized, started showing up early for practice. Gary started allowing veterans to say, he still talked, but he gave the veterans the respect to be able to talk. We went from having one of the worst records when I got there, and I'm not saying it was all on me.
Sure.
To making the playoffs, okay? And Portland had the best record in the league. And we took them, it was a 5-game series back then. We took them to the 5th game. Almost beat them.
Yeah.
And then the next year, we won close to 50 games. And then the year after that, we went to the conference finals. And it was those two.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean by fix it. We wasn't talking about trading Gary or it was a mistake or, Sean, get him out of here. Mm-hmm. No, fix it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying with the Suns. Fix it. If you're Kevin Durant.
Who's going to be
I don't know. But somebody doesn't have to be the star. I wasn't the star. It doesn't have to be the star. Mm-hmm. But they got to fix it, man. Yeah. And that's why I try to tell people it's not all about getting rid of it. We got the talent because a lot of people thought the Suns would go to the finals this year. Mm-hmm. Prognosticators thought the Suns would be one of the top teams in the NBA.
I think that's why so many people in the offseason, when they were talking about, or even last year around this time when we were talking about possible trade scenarios, why people got so jazzed up about TJ McConnell, because they felt like TJ, leads by example. Right. He plays hard. He's obviously enthusiastic. He's passionate. It's clearly evident when you watch him play that he holds himself to a high standard, but also holds other players to a high standard as well. And that's the kind of accountability that I do feel like is missing. But, we'll get into more of that after this break. Listen, folks, Branded Bills is the place to go for a new hat because, we're not wearing Branded Bills hats right now because it just happened to be like that. But we have been sporting them relentlessly all year long, and even last year too, if you want to be technical about it. But Branded Bills is one of the best hats in the game, best apparel. Take advantage of it. You get hooked up by going and saving 20% by using promo code PHNX. And it's not just hats, it's apparel too. So hoodies, shirts, the whole 9 yards, they got it all. Hook yourself up. And if you have a business, they'll hook you up too. If you need some merch for your business and you can't figure out how to do it or who's going to design it, those guys got you covered. Branded Bills, the place to go, the place to be. Get yourself a new lid today by going to brandedbills.com and saving yourself 20% by using promo code PHNX. And obviously, there's some more watch parties on the horizon for the Suns. Hopefully, they'll get it together. And, hopefully, that's all I got to say. There's watch parties that happen at Gila River Resorts and Casinos all the time. So check out the event schedule at gophnx.com and come out to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Come out to Wild Horse Pass. It's a fantastic time. We all watch those games together. It's fun. It's exciting. and there's a bunch of giveaways that we do, but also the resort itself. Gila River is first class all the way. They've got dining, they've got they've got the pool, they got spas, they got a golf course, they got the whole 9 yards. It's fantastic. Get yourself over to Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Do a staycation over there. They got the cool little Suns and Cardinals and Coyote, or RIP Coyotes rooms, but they have like the individual team rooms, which are pretty cool. I've seen a couple of them, pretty dope, and they have all types of events that are going on. They have concerts. Again, hook yourself up by going to GilaRiver.com, and remember, to you, do you. Oh. All right. Listen, I think one of the other things that we got to talk about when it comes to Jimmy Butler is obviously the mentality, but let's talk about the Suns themselves. Like, in terms of them needing a presence or needing a person, is there, without really trying to tear anybody down or who you would trade or anything like that, is there a particular player that you look at and you identify with as somebody that could be a difference maker from a mentality or actual play standpoint that you've seen in the league that you like? Not that they're a trade target for the Suns, but just like the DNA of that individual.
Well, I mean, I think, for the Suns, I've always said, we have a lot of finesse players, and there's nothing wrong with that. I was a finesse player, but you can be a finesse player but do tough things. I talked about that earlier. It's just certain things that you do. Like Steph Curry is a finesse guy, but he's tough. He's tough in his running, getting to his spots, setting screens, doing all of that, right? And the toughness obviously has to improve with everybody on this team, but it's always good to have somebody that you look at every night do it, and do it with size. Like Royce O'Neal's a tough player. Like he plays hard. He's very Grayson Allen is, but they have some liabilities in regards to, they're not 6'8", 6'9", and they're knocking people around. And I've always just said that, if the Suns somehow found somebody out there that's available, I'm not going to mention names. That's, I can't tamper, but, somebody that can protect. Like for me, I always had every scorer has bodyguards.
Yeah, of course.
Right. So for me in my career, from the onset, my bodyguards from my first year on, Leon Douglas, Reggie King. People don't even know who these guys are, right? LaSalle Thompson, Otis Thorpe.
Like Reggie Miller had the Davis boys.
Yeah, like scores always had that guy that's not gonna take any mess, right? You look back at the Oakleys of the world, New York. Wasn't nobody messing around with John Starks with Oakley on the floor, right? It's just that kind of, and you're right, the Davis boys. I played at Indiana. They were my bodyguard too, trust me. Because I talked a lot of junk, but I wasn't worried about anything. When I here in Phoenix, I mean, we had tough guy. Kurt Rambis was here. He wasn't letting anybody doing that. Mark West, Andrew Lane, like they'll tell you, and I used to tell them, like, look, y'all know I'm gonna get these dudes unnerved. I'm gonna talk junk. I'm gonna talk junk to the benches. Y'all just gotta be ready to protect me now, and they did. Like, well, I mean, I had to fight. I fight. Don't get me wrong. I didn't nobody fight my fight, but that stopped the fight because I didn't want to get kicked out of a game.
Yeah.
So it's just that's what I think. That's the missing link, and that person doesn't have to be a tremendous player.
No,
he's just somebody that just when he steps on the floor, it's a physicality presence that just entered the building, and it allows other guys, like especially our main guys, not to have to do that kind of dirty work.
Yeah.
And have to fight a guy that has size on them, and it. To me, but this is a era, man, of everybody wants these thoroughbreds and they want guys that can shoot the three and all of that. And to me, I just disagree with it, man. I watched the game last night on TNT, and I watched Minnesota and Boston. Look, Golden State won a title because they were the best shooting team over those years. They had Steph Curry and Klay Thompson.
Not all threes.
Yeah. But Boston, they won a title last year because they got great shooters on their team. they can get away with taking a ton of threes.
Yeah.
But what I saw last night, well, a couple of weeks ago, when we had two teams miss 75 threes. They missed 75 threes. I think it was the Hornets and the Kings or somebody. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
They missed 75. They miss. Last night on national TV, 97 threes were attempted between the two teams. 97.
That's crazy.
Like, you know, JJ Reddick last night. Now, I know we're going to play something there, but he mentioned something after the game. And he was talking about Max Christie. And he said, you know, Max Christie had his career night last night. I think he had like 28 points, 29 points. Young man can play. And they were talking about, they asked JJ, you know, about Max Christie, and he's like, he had his unbelievable game, but early in the game, I got mad at him. And I'm like, why'd he get mad at him? And he said, because he took two mid-range shots, and I just wanted to kill him. Really, dude? Seriously? Like, what is wrong with getting rhythm, taking a three, or starting a game? We start games now, guys are getting their rhythm by taking threes. What about getting a short jumper? What about getting out on a break and getting a layup? What about getting an offensive putback? What about getting a free throw to see the orange ball go through the rim to give you rhythm? Guys get rhythm by shooting threes to start a game. It's disturbing. It literally is freaking disturbing to me. And these analytical robots that have changed the game to this magnitude, and these coaches have bought into it to an insane, ridiculously stupid level.
Yeah, stupid.
Is driving me nuts. Because 97 threes last night. That means back in our day, if we had taken 97 threes, we'd scored 200 points. The Suns, we scored, I think, 155 one game, and we made 3 threes. Now they're gonna go back and say, well, because y'all didn't play defense, that's why you scored. Really? I saw a Laker game last night. I saw Philadelphia play last night against Golden State. Golden State was like a layup line. Come on. It just, you know, that part is just driving me nuts, man. So
I see these comments in the chat about, you know, the Suns show that they can play defense and they can play at a high level. They showed it on Christmas Day and stuff like that. I'm like, yeah, but they haven't shown it in like back-to-back efforts. That's my fear, is that they can't do it on a every single night basis. Whether you want to attribute it to age or ability, I don't care, but they haven't proven that they can be consistent in that matter. And to EJ's point about JJ Reddick and Charles Barkley, we'll get to that in a second, but I do got to wrap up this last ad read real quick. Sanderson Ford is the place to go if you need a new whip. F-150s galore. The Broncos Sports, the Broncos, they're all great. EJ's in the market for an electric vehicle. They got the electric F-150. They got the E-Mach Mustang. They've got it all. And in Sanderson Ford, 65-acre facility. You're going to love it. Their customer service is top-notch. They got a diner there. So while you know how sometimes you're just sitting around waiting for finance to get done with their paperwork and all this, they got to call the banks and all this other BS, right? But you can go to the diner and kick it and hook yourself up with a nice meal, and then go over and pick all your accessories for your new truck or your new car or whatever that you would like, you know? So if you want souped up wheels, they got you. If you want a lifted truck, they got you. If you want new mud flaps or you want tinted windows, they got you. The whole 9 yards, 65-acre facility out on the west side. It's worth the drive out there to 51st. I promise you that. Sanderson Ford right now. Also, they love to give back to the community. Listen, they just did Operation Santa Claus. They do a lot of initiatives all year long, and they're all for the vets, which I appreciate very much. Get a new 2024 F-150 truck with 3.9% APR financing for 66 months, plus up to $4,000 cash back. Similar savings on over 900 new and pre-owned vehicles on the lot. And while you are in your new car, why don't you drive over to a Cardinals game or a Suns game or ASU or U of A basketball game right now. Everybody's in season. It's fantastic. Game Time is the place you want to go to hook yourself up with the best deals possible. And listen, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use promo code PHNX for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code PHNX for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. I have used that app too many times and saved myself a lot of money getting the best tickets. Listen, I'm a big Coldplay fan. I bought tickets through Game Time to go to Vegas to watch Coldplay because it's a bucket list thing for me. So, but my son's trying to convince me to go to London to go see him in Wembley Stadium. And now I'm second guessing my purchase. I might have to resell him back to Game Time. We'll see. But hey, listen, Game Time is where it's at. All right. Charles Barkley lit up JJ Reddick straight up, point blank. And I don't disagree with him because, listen, there's this thing about it come out a little bit ago about, guys like, inside the NBA are ruining the sport because they're constantly, crapping on the bad teams and they're making people feel like, this, that, and the other about the NBA. Charles Barkley wasn't feeling that.
Was he just talking about folks on TV?
He said something about we're the reason people ain't watching this crappy product we got. That's JJ. Yeah, us, like we out there jacking up 100 threes a night. JJ, I don't know Jason Monroe. I don't know who that is, but JJ, you come for the king, you better not miss. Because I can get you, brother, because I got your Lakers games. You can't hide them flaws they got. You just a dead man walking. They got rid of Frank Vogel, who did a good job. They got rid of Darvingham, who did a good job. But you came out there thinking you were going to change things with that same ugly girl you went on the date with.
64-51 was your halftime score. As we get back to the highlights, and Rudy Gobert.
So he came in there thinking, I can make this thing work. Hell, you can.
77-71.
Put the makeup on that pig.
Man, the Lakers are pigs.
The Lakers stink, man.
Oh, man, okay.
Come on, man.
Tatum, by the way, had 33.
Charles Barkley, one of a kind. Also, if you are watching us on any of your streaming platforms outside of YouTube, go follow us on gophnx.com for the rest of this show. Listen, Charles Barkley, obviously one of a kind. I love the fact that he kind of went at JJ Reddick. He didn't hold back at all. And I agree with him. Like, if you think inside the NBA is what's ruining the game, then you're being obtuse to the situation. Like you're not identifying what is really going on with the NBA. And the NBA is becoming a little too watered down because everybody's trying to do the same exact thing on a night-to-night basis, as EJ just pointed out with the 97 threes that we saw last night between two teams. And Minnesota has no business shooting as many threes as they did last night, straight up. Like the Celtics can get away with it. Minnesota is not built for that. They're a different kind of style team. So I agree. It shouldn't be like this. There's got to be a little bit more, in-depth coaching. I think coaching at a variety of different levels, fundamentals. You can blame AAU, you can blame, whatever you want to do. But at the end of the day, something's got to change about the NBA, and it's not inside the NBA.
Yeah, look, some players that's come through this league, they have gotten favor. And good for them. Like Steve Kerr is a very good friend of mine. Love Steve Kerr. He'll admit he got favor. He will admit it. JJ, why don't you admit it? You got favor, man. And because you got favor, you can't have a pulse on everything. Like JJ and I have gotten into it, and we've kind of made up. And look, I'm cheering for the guy. I have no problem with JJ Reddick, but JJ has a persona about him that at times rub people the wrong way. Like I brought up the Max Christie comment that he made. And, like everybody doesn't get the road that some people get.
Yeah, no.
You got assistant coaches in this league, to me, that were qualified to get that Lakers job. But yet, he got it, and he didn't travel the road to get it. Yeah, he played in the NBA. He was a good player. But a lot of players that are assistant coaches in the league right now, they're sitting over on their bench, and they've been over there for 5, 6, 7, 10 years and haven't gotten a shot. And I think because he got through the road quickly, he became a star on TV and all of that. He got it really rather quickly. is that he feels he can have an opinion on everything.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you something. You messing with the wrong people if you start messing with all-time great players in your comments. He's done it before when he brought up the plumbers and firemen stuff with the players of the past. You need to stop.
I mean,
man.
It was kind of funny.
Like, you messing with the wrong dude. Charles would obliterate you, man. And he's going to get you again. He's not done. I know Charles too well. Charles not done. He's not done with you. You know, because he believes that you tried to attack him, which in a sense is trying to take his money. You know, because think about it. TNT, you know, lost the contract. Not saying JJ Reddick was the reason, but they're not happy about that. Obviously, ESPN has struck a deal with them, so they'll still be able to do their show. But still, like, those guys, man, they've been working their butt off. They work hard, too. You might not like what they say. You might have, you know, an opposite thought of how they approach things. But, man, don't you start blaming people that they're the reason why. No, JJ, the reason why is a multitude of things. Why is the commissioner right now actually saying that he believes that maybe it's too many threes being taken? Why don't you go after Adam Silver then? Like, come on, man. It is an issue. It's an issue. And they have every right to state their opinion, as you had every right to state your opinion when you said players back in the day were firemen and plumbers, and they had to go get another job. What's the difference? And you got vitriol back, for me in particular, when you did it, all right? So if they said it, that means that they mean it. He messing with the wrong dude, man. And Shaq sat over there quiet. You better not keep talking, because then Shaq, the only reason Shaq probably didn't say nothing because he got that Laker allegiance a little bit, but he's the wrong person.
He was laughing, though.
Yeah, he's the wrong person. So, and you know, Kendrick, who you work with, is the wrong person. Yeah. You got guys then that'll make your job uncomfortable when you're struggling. You know, my advice is, man, coach. Coach. Because you're a young coach. You haven't had it all figured out yet. You got LeBron over there. You got one of the smartest people in the face of the earth on the basketball court. When he leaves is when you're going to be judged.
If he makes it then.
Yeah. That's when you're going to be judged. Because right now, he's saving you, a 40-year-old man. Okay? So we'll see. If I was you, I'd be quiet and coach your team and leave Charles alone, because that's a losing battle.
So, in short, are the Suns going to trade for Jimmy Butler?
Probably not.
Probably not. Are the Suns going to win a championship this year?
Probably not.
And is JJ Reddick ever going to learn his lesson?
Probably not.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically about it. And that's today's show. We definitely appreciate you all for joining us today. We will be back on Monday, back to our normal time, finally, 9 o'clock in the morning on Monday. And so we do appreciate you. Hey, listen, there's about over 200 or 300 people watching this show right now. Please hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the Outside Shots podcast. We have our own podcast feed now. So if you don't want all the alerts for all the other PHNX stuff, you can just go straight to Outside Shots and watch us on a day-to-day, or listen to us every week. So we appreciate you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Follow him at JumpShot8 on Twitter and on Instagram. You can follow me at Saul_Bookman on both as well. I'm also on Blue Sky. Are you on Blue Sky?
I'm on Blue Sky.
He's on Blue
but
Sky
you can also listen to me for 3 hours coming up here at 2 to 5 Pacific time, Sirius XM, NBA radio with Justin Termini. 3 hours of nonstop, Eddie. Forget Termini, Eddie.
There you go.
Me.
3
me.
hours
me.
of nonstop.
All me.
Eddie, I don't know if that's what you wanted to start your weekend, but you're going to get it regardless. We appreciate y'all. Love y'all. Until next time. Peace.
We all silly like the mayor.